Hello everyone, welcome back to Literary Criticism, Longinus. In the last class, we learned about the concept of sublimity put forward by Longinus. Today, you will study about 5 sources of sublimity. That means the sources from which sublimity uh, is produced in literary works. Then you will study about romanticism of Longinus. First, let us move on to 5 sources of sublimity as put forward by Longinus. Sources of the sublime. See, Longinus finds 5 principal sources of sublime. They are grandeur of thought, great thoughts, that is grandeur of thought. Then, capacity for strong emotion. Strong emotions, the ability to produce strong emotions, that also will lead to sublimity. Then, appropriate use of figures. Figures means figures of speech. That will also lead to sublimity. Then, nobility of diction. Diction means words, the combination of words used by the poet, the noble character of the words, that will also lead to sublimity. Then, dignity of composition. How it is composed, how words are arranged together to produce meaning, that will also lead to sublimity. So, it is easy to study if you study these 5 and these 5 of these concepts, and you can explain each of them separately. So 5 of them. Among these, the first 2, that is grandeur of thought and capacity for strong emotions, are considered as gifts of nature, that is earned by birth, gifted by birth. The first 2, grandeur of thought and capacity of strong emotions, ജന്മസിദ്ധം എന്ന് പറയും. The rest of the 3, appropriate use of figures, nobility of diction, dignity of composition, these can be achieved by practice. The rest of the 3 are considered as gifts of art that earned by practice. So hope you understood that. Now let us move on to study about each of them in detail. First one, grandeur of thought. See, this is a quotation by Longinus. Sublimity is the echo of greatness of soul. Echo, murakam, echo of the greatness of soul, Longinus says. Let us see how grandeur of thought leads to sublimity. Great thoughts come from great minds. This should be a gift of nature. They can also be acquired by interacting constantly with the noble and sublime, and by following the example of great masters. Literature written by such great minds will be having an elevating means lifting effect, both morally and artistically. So poets who are great will produce great work of literature, great work of poetry, which will create sublimity, which will raise the readers from this world to another world, another level. Then, capacity for strong emotion. Emotions are an important factor in sublimity. True emotions inspire the poet with mad enthusiasm and divine frenzy. Frenzy means vibranti, divine frenzy, mad enthusiasm, energy, mad energy. According to Longinus, emotions make the aesthetic transport possible. Aesthetic transport means uh, movement of the aesthetic quality from the literary work to the reader. This transport will uplift the reader morally. So the presence of emotions will also lift the work to sublimity. Then, so these are the two factors. The first one, grandeur of thought and capacity for emotions, that should be coming from within. That is, it should be inborn. The rest of the three can be achieved by practice. Appropriate use of figures. Use of figures plays an important part in producing grandeur. Grandeur means the quality of being grand. Figures introduce an element of surprise. Figures of speech introduce an element of surprise in it, element of novelty in it. Chief figures that contribute to sublimity are rhetorical question, Azindartan, Hyperbaiten, and Paraphrases. We will explain these. These are some of the figures of speech, just like metaphor, simile, etc. Let us first see what is rhetorical question. See, as it is given here, these are some of the figures of speech which will help the poet to create sublimity. That is what it is said here. Let us see the rhetorical question. Rhetorical question is a statement in the form of a question, raised for creating an effect, not for getting an answer. See, you might have heard of rhetorical questions often. These are questions raised not to get an answer, but just for an effect. രാജാക്കന്മാരൊക്കെ ആരെവിടെ എന്നൊക്കെ ചോദിക്കുന്ന ചോദ്യം റെറ്ററിക്കൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്. ചില ആളുകൾ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന സ്പീച്ച് നടത്തുന്ന സമയത്ത് എന്താണ് അവിടെ സംഭവിച്ചത്, ഇതുപോലൊക്കെയുള്ള ചോദ്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ റെറ്ററിക്കൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്. സി those questions are not meant for an answer but for an effect. So rhetorical question will create sublimity. Then Azindartan. It is a speech in which words or clauses are left unconnected. Usually words and clauses are connected by means of conjunctions in order to create meaning. However, in Azindartan, in this figure of speech, they are left unconnected. When it is uttered, it will create an excited mood. For example, I came, I saw, I conquered. So this is an example of Azindartan. Then Hyperbaiten. Hyperbaiten means inversion of normal order of words made under an emotional strain. Inversion of normal order of, see, in English there is a word order like this: subject, verb, object. If the word order, order of the words are changed, object, verb, etc., such interchanging of the position of the elements, that is called hyperbaiten. You will understand it more easily when an example is given. See, this is a quotation from Edgar Allan Poe's story The Telltale Heart. See, object there was none, passion there was none, I loved the old man. See, these two sentences are examples of hyperbaiten. Object there was none. See, there was no object. That is the usual order. Passion there was none. There was no passion. That is a normal order. But it is given in this inverted order. Object there was none. This will create a poetic quality to it. That is called Hyperbaiten. Then periphrases. Periphrases is very familiar and easy. A roundabout way of speaking. Roundabout means not direct. Roundabout way of speaking. For example, see, using fair sex instead of womankind. Better half for wife, etc. are examples. So using another word, another phrase instead of something else, that is periphrases. So women are often called fair sex. Wives are often called better half, like that. Usage of figures like this will make the work sublime. Then nobility of diction. Diction, as I have already told you, the proper choice of words. Diction comprises of proper choice of words. Words, when suitable and striking, have a moving and seductive effect. Seductive means capturing effect upon the reader. You know the power of words. Words will overthrow us if it is used in the proper way. It renders grandeur, beauty, mellowness, softness, dignity, force, power, and charm. Among ornaments of speech, Longinus considers metaphor and hyperbole. Hyperbole means exaggeration. So, the last one, dignity in composition. Dignified composition, or the harmonious arrangement of words is important, is the fifth source of the sublime. It is a great source of persuasion as well as pleasure. Persuade means encourages and as well as provide pleasure. It makes the reader or hearer share the emotion of the speaker. So these are the 5 sources of sublimity. See, again, I'll read them once again. Grandeur of thought, capacity for strong emotion, appropriate use of figures, nobility of diction, dignity of composition. Among these, the first 2 should be inborn. The last 3 can be developed by means of practice. Now, romanticism of Longinus. See, there are several movements in literature like classicism, romanticism, etc. Classicism is the earliest one. Aristotle, Plato, those critics, philosophers, they were classicists. However, Longinus is not a classicist like Aristotle. He adds romanticism to his approach to literature. Let us see. According to Longinus, passion and freedom are the very basis of romantic temper. Passion and freedom. See, you may have doubt, what is romanticism? Romanticism is a school of literature in which passion and freedom are given much importance. In poetry, romanticism means writing about nature. Wordsworth is a romantic poet. Writing about passion, writing about freedom, all those things are essential elements of romantic temper. Longinus is also of the same opinion that passion and freedom are very basis of romantic temper. Though he didn't believe in rules, he lays down some rules for its guidance. See, classicists are full of rules. Classic poetry is full of rules. However, Longinus is not of the opinion that rules will make perfect poetry. No. He says that freedom is the basis of. However, he takes some elements of classicism. He adds his own rules to it. So, secondly, Longinus is against limiting the number of metaphors to two at a time. The classicists suggested that metaphors should be limited to two at a time. He is against it. He is against limiting the number of metaphors to two at a time. So this is done. Longinus suggests this because he is a romantic. Finally, he is against the rule of faultlessness of the work followed by the class. The classicists evaluated a literary work by looking whether it is faultless. If it is faultless, if it is without any mistakes, classicists believe that it is perfect. Longinus is not so. Longinus says that observation of rules does not make a work great and perfect. Taking the reader to sublimity is more important than remaining faultless. So these are the these are the essential elements of criticism of Longinus that you should study. That is sublimity, as we have discussed in the last class, and sources of sublimity, then romanticism of Longinus. So we are stopping here. Thank you. By this, we are coming to the end of the first module, and we will continue with the glossary in the last module. Thank you.